Eli's garden was the most beautiful one in the village. His gentle, generous nature made him beloved by all who knew him. And among everyone who called him a friend, none was dearer to him than Rowan the miller. People often complimented Eli's roses, and he would smile as he gathered them for the market. But Rowan treated Eli's garden as if it belonged to him as well. Whenever Rowan passed by, he helped himself to flowers or herbs, insisting that true friendship meant sharing everything. Eli accepted it without complaint, believing that giving freely was part of loving others. Others saw what Eli could not. John the farmer often shook his head, noticing how Rowan took and took without offering anything in return. But Eli always brushed it aside, saying that friends shared everything, even if that sharing was uneven. During spring and summer, Eli made enough to survive through his garden's harvest. But winter was different. Nothing grew then. His home grew cold, his shelves grew empty, and he often went hungry. Rowan never struggled, of course. His mill ran day and night. His storerooms were always full of flour, corn, and grain. Yet he never once thought of offering Eli food, even when he knew how difficult winter was for him. One winter evening, Rowan's young son Micah watched his father eat their warm supper. Concerned, the boy asked why they couldn't invite Eli to stay with them until spring returned. They had more than enough for him. But Rowan rejected the suggestion instantly. If Eli saw their full granary, Rowan argued, he might grow envious. And envy, according to Rowan, was a terrible thing to awaken in a friend. The boy lowered his eyes, confused by the logic. Rowan continued eating, secure in his comfort, while Eli endured the cold alone. By the time spring finally arrived, Eli was thinner, weaker, and worn down by hunger. Yet, he greeted the returning warmth with gratitude. He hummed softly as he pulled weeds, cleaned the soil, and prepared the earth for seeds. Being back in his garden made him happy. Rowan arrived with a cheerful stride, acting as though nothing had changed. He glanced around and noticed a plank leaning against the wall. When Eli explained that he planned to use it to repair a wheelbarrow he had been forced to sell during winter to buy food, Rowan commented on how foolish it had been to sell it in the first place. He then offered his own broken, useless wheelbarrow as a gift. When Eli gratefully mentioned that he could use the plank to fix it, Rowan claimed the plank for himself, saying that he needed it for his barn roof, and reminding Eli that, since he was being given a wheelbarrow, it was only fair to give something in return. Eli gave up the plank. Rowan then demanded Eli's help in repairing the barn, and after that, more requests followed, carrying sacks of flour to the market, taking Rowan's sheep up the mountain to graze, cleaning storage sheds, running errands, work upon work, favor upon favor, day after day. Eli kept agreeing, telling himself that friendship required such things. Meanwhile, his own garden fell behind, neglected under the weight of Rowan's endless expectations. One stormy night, rain lashed the village. Wind roared across the roofs. Lightning split the darkness. Eli sat inside his small home, eating a simple meal, when a frantic knock shook his door. Rowan stood there claiming his son had fallen from a ladder and needed a doctor. The doctor lived far away, and Rowan insisted that Eli should go in his place, again reminding him of the wheelbarrow that had never actually helped Eli at all. Eli asked for a lantern for the dark road, but Rowan refused, unwilling to risk damaging his new one. And so, Eli stepped out into the raging storm, alone and unprotected, because he believed that was what friendship required of him. By morning, he had not returned. Villagers found his hat floating near a ditch and feared the worst. For a time, they believed Eli had drowned. Rowan mourned loudly at the funeral service the villagers prepared, taking the best seat and speaking as though he had been Eli's greatest benefactor. He even complained that the broken wheelbarrow he had planned to give Eli was now worthless. When reminded that Eli had gone out that night to help Rowan's son, Rowan dismissed it, saying Eli should have been more careful. But then a voice interrupted the gathering. Eli stood there, weak but alive. The farmer had found him in the storm, half conscious by the ditch, and carried him home. The truth came out piece by piece. Rowan had sent him into the storm with no light, no help, and no concern for his safety. The farmer pressed Eli to reflect on what Rowan had ever done for him in return for his constant labor and sacrifices. Has Rowan ever paid for the flowers he collected, Has he ever offered grain during the long winters? Had he ever lifted a finger to help Eli in return for all the work Eli did for him? For the first time, Eli saw the truth clearly. He realized that kindness without boundaries had allowed Rowan to treat him not as a friend, but as a tool, something to use whenever he wished. Something inside Eli shifted that day. When Rowan came soon after with another request to repair his windmill, Eli gently refused. Rowan protested, insisting that true friends helped each other. He reached for flowers from Eli's garden as he always did, and Eli quietly told him their price. Rowan was stunned. Eli then pointed out that if flowers were free between friends, then surely grain should be free as well. At that moment, Rowan finally understood that things had changed. And they did. Rowan stopped taking advantage of Eli. He stopped using friendship as an excuse to demand labor and favors. Over time, he even learned to give back, slowly becoming a better man. Eli continued tending his garden with joy, but with a newfound strength. He learned that kindness is important, deeply important, but self-respect matters just as much. Helping others is noble, but not when it costs your own well-being. And real friendship? Real friendship is mutual. It fills rather than drains. It lifts rather than burdens. Many people call someone a friend simply because they are afraid of disappointing them, even when that person does not treat them like a friend at all. It is worth thinking about. Real friendship does not exhaust you. Real friendship strengthens you. If this story gave you something to reflect on, subscribe to Tales by Cathie for more calm, simple stories that teach the life lessons we often forget. Stories that help you grow. Stories that speak to the heart without noise.